Share more about that, about how the 9 countries you're in. Places of
Okay,
hope.
those 9 countries are the 9 countries that we really work with on an ongoing basis. There are other projects that we'll get involved with when there's a major issue, like when the Asian tsunami took place, probably 4 years ago now. When that took place, we knew that there were children in dire straits. We knew that in many of those countries that were impacted, in Thailand and Sri Lanka and India, that bad people were going to those countries in the midst of that crisis.
Yep.
And they were stealing the kids.
It's amazing.
And they were selling kids on the black market. So, as an ambassador of compassion, it becomes our role and responsibility to work with nationals to help stabilize the lives of these kids.
So when you say nationals, what does that mean, Leo? Nationals?
National is somebody who is from that country, born in that country, lives in that country, and if it's Peru, it's a Peruvian. If it's in India, it's an Indian. So the nationals are our DNA, our MO, it's our standard operating procedure, because as much as we feel it's our responsibility to be involved, we don't feel like we're supposed to be involved to go and show up as the great American white hope to come in and fix everything. We go there to stand beside, hold up, and be partners to a national who understands the culture. It's the same thing if somebody was coming into our country and trying to help our country with any kind of a problem.
Sure.
If they didn't know our cultures, they would not be very effective. We would not be effective going into even South America, not knowing the culture, without using and working with a national. So it's also been a tremendous opportunity for the nationals to have a support mechanism back to us. So we don't control them, we don't own them, we just simply come alongside, help them along the way, be there to encourage them, be there to pray with them, be there to give them financial resources, to give them educational resources, to give them programming. Whatever their need is, they ask, we do our best to facilitate, not just from what we have, because we don't have all the answers, but what we do have is we have opportunities like this to talk to people like yourself, John, that are champions for cause, champions for change, change agents, that you have a network of people, and the people that you speak to come from all walks of life. And so there are people who say, what can I possibly bring to the table? The reality is, anything that we have done since the day we were born was really because God was preparing us to use those tools, use those skills, to make them available to save people, to change people, to impact lives, to transform lives, and to be a part of social change for the good.
Because you really see it, and it's amazing too. Financial gift, it's less than what I know. When we conclude this, I know Sandra and Dan and I will probably go down to where Champions hang out, Duffy's, and get something to eat.
Get a Champion burger.
Get a Champion burger, right? But it's amazing how just in this country, even a dinner like that for 3 of us or 4 of us, it'll be $30, $40, $50, and that literally, that kind of financial dollars, what we take for granted, changes kids' lives overseas.
It does, John. We work on our Places of Hope project where we put children's pictures and their little bios up there.
Yeah, you see them right there, the Champion
some of
kids
these
right
kids
there.
Here,
yeah.
And we make that sponsorship available for $30. And I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't want anybody to misunderstand. In all countries, you can't support a child for 30 days for $30. There are some countries that you can and some countries that you can't.
I mean, it's still amazing that some you can, and even some you can get pretty close to it, which is amazing.
That is. And what's amazing, there are some countries now that you can support a head of household for $30 a month. But what we do is we take those funds, we connect those funds with that children's home. It goes in to fund the entire home, because if there's one child in that home that is extremely charismatic in their photo or in their bio, or if there's something that people like, that's where all the support would go. So we don't let it work that way, because if there was a child that was not so desirable, then that child wouldn't, in theory, be sponsored. So what we really do is we sponsor the entire children's home, and with all of our collective dollars, we're able to keep those people going. When I first went to Peru 15 years ago now, I was still in the business world.
Because that's how you got. Because 15 years ago, you were in the real estate world and
I was in
vacation rentals and so forth.
real estate development business up in the Great White Mountains of New Hampshire. And the beginning of the end was quite similar to where we are in economic times of just recent days.
It's absolutely, we were talking earlier, and this is a little side note, it's more biblical than, no, I was even talking to Sandra when we were setting up today. No man could write this story except God. It's a supernatural revelation of the Word of God, what's going on in the economic turnaround. And I believe that people with the right hearts and sowing the right seeds are going to get blessed immeasurable right now. And I believe that's why you're going to see the funding for Places of Hope. I know with Christ Fellowship and One Life and what's occurring, it's doing the right thing. So 15 years ago, you were in a real estate...